It's the first off weekend of the 2024 NASCAR break for the Olympics, so today we're going to take a look back at some of the biggest storylines and moments on and off the racetrack for 2024.
High, push it, checker flag, hell yeah!
What's the caution for? Me?
Can I not push it in?
Stop anybody.
Come on, you guys! You're waiting out, boys! One hell of a job, man, one hell of a job! Thank you so much.
It has been quite the year in the world of NASCAR, both on and off the track, with some storylines that are still developing and happening in real time through this 2-week off break for the Olympics on NBC. Welcome on into the program. I'm Alan Bailey. We're going to go over everything that's happened so far this season, some of the big memorable moments, and some honorable mentions that make our top 10 list. Thank you to you for kind of putting your input through the community notes, through Twitter, for compiling this top 10 list, so thank you. First off, I know it's the first off weekend, so sincerely, we can get through this. We got this. It's just 2 weeks, then racing returns. So do me a favor, mash the subscribe button so that you do not miss a video, and of course, make sure that you log on to arnrace.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. I want to go ahead and say this straight up. Make sure that you head out to your local short track tonight or next week, whenever they race, because there's some genuinely great talent at the local short track level. That's where you're going to find the next Josh Berry, the next Carson Quaffle, you name it, Connor Zillage. They're going to be at your local short tracks. Find them when they're young, become a fan, and watch their career progress as they hopefully get up to the Cup Series one day. Trust me, it's a great thing to do on a Saturday night in the summertime, especially once that sun sets. And if you can't make it out to the racetrack, don't worry. You can go ahead and log on to lowbudget.tv, and you can go ahead and watch all of the live coverage on this side of the country, the West Coast, all at your local short track level. And of course, you can watch them in real time on Saturday nights, but you can also go ahead and check out all of the on-demand racing from tracks like Irwindale Speedway, Colorado, Kern County, Orange Show Speedway with me, you name it, it's there. Go ahead, check it out, lowbudget.tv right now. Now, let's go ahead and start with number 10. The waiver, the double waiver, and Kyle Larson doing the Indy Coke double. It didn't exactly work out according to plan. Weather unfortunately impacted not only the Indy 500, but the Coca-Cola 600 in NASCAR, meaning that Larson had to choose Indy 500 or Coke 600, and he chose Indy, and didn't even make a lap at the Coke 600 due to a weather delay that ended up ending the race early, even though they could have raced late into the night, and the next day NASCAR decided to go ahead and cut it way short. It was more like the 375 or something of that nature instead of the Coke 600. But it ultimately meant that NASCAR was in the position to either give Kyle Larson the waiver for missing that race to make the postseason. He was already qualified based on wins at that point, or they could have actually followed their own rule books and said, no, Kyle, you chose to not show up for the Coca-Cola 600. You chose to run a competitive series against NASCAR and not show up for your job. But instead, they decided, we'll go ahead and let you do it. You drive for Rick Hendrick with the Hendrick cars on the car. We'll give this one to you, Kyle. Oh, yeah, golden boy, yeah. Number 9 on the list is going to Iowa, finally getting a Cup date. After NASCAR owned the track for almost 10 years, they finally decided, we're going to give the people of Iowa a Cup race, finally. And kind of in the same breath, they did a really, really, really crappy partial repave of the track. NASCAR claimed, we didn't have time. Really? The 10 years that track was sitting essentially unused? You couldn't have done a repave then? I know IndyCar was out there, but NASCAR, you dropped the ball on that repave, but it actually worked out. I think that the partial repave actually did create great racing, because when a new repave is done, they bring out lasers and make it all flat and level and smooth and boring. Instead, they did a partial repave that was patchy, bumpy, rough, tumble, which made for some pretty damn good racing. I'm just saying, this car likes a bumpy racetrack. Number 8 on the list goes to the Chicago Street Race, once again being impacted by rain. NASCAR just needs to get a break on this one, man. Sincerely, it was awesome to see the Chicago Street Course Race come back. I'd like to see a year where we don't have to deal with rain. Luckily, the concerts got in this time. The Xfinity race was great. SVG won that one. Alex Bowman wins the Cup race after SVG crashes out. Honestly, really good race. I really, really enjoyed it, and non-NASCAR people are asking about the Chicago Street Course race. That's the entire point of that race. And honestly, I'm down for more street races. Go ahead, add 2 or 3 per year. Dead serious. I'm 100% down. Los Angeles, anyone? Number 7 on the list, an off-track note, NASCAR removing scoring pylons at some of its racetracks. Notably, we went to some racetracks and we didn't get scoring pylons there. NASCAR removed them and decided it's too expensive to put new ones up. We're too cheap. We don't want our fans to know who is where on the racetrack. Not only were officials, drivers, crew members all confused by this, but fans were outraged by it. NASCAR simply saying, go on our app. It's fine. You can see the full rundown there, except they didn't actually put working internet at the racetracks where the scoring pylons were removed. So NASCAR really needs to invest the multi-million dollars that they are making in profits back into the racetracks and put up scoring pylons. Don't think we forgot about that, NASCAR. Number 6 on the list, Bristol. Just Bristol. Straight up Bristol. Hands down, it was one of the better races that we've seen at the Bristol Motor Speedway in a number of years. They didn't put dirt down on it again, thank goodness, but Goodyear brought an interesting tire, and because of cold weather at the track, it did some interesting things. There was a lot of tire wear, and it made for some really great on-track racing. Goodyear themselves said, oh, we don't know what happened with the tires. We have really smart engineers and smart people here that have doctorates, but they don't even know what happened with these tires and why it happened. They are still trying to reproduce it. Do I have faith? No. But I'm really hoping they find that magic in the bottle and that we see it again sometime on the racetrack, because that sincerely was some damn good racing. Number 5 on the list, the race that I went to that kicked off our preseason, a very rainy Los Angeles Clash at the LA Coliseum, potentially for the final time. I was really bummed when we found out that Saturday for the practice and heat races, we weren't going to see fans in the stands because of an outcry online. NASCAR went ahead and opened the gates free of charge to all of its fans and anybody that wanted to come in, because it was kind of sort of raining that weekend. Not a lot of people showed up on Saturday, but well into the afternoon, it looked like Sunday the race wasn't going to happen because of one of the largest rainstorms that we have seen in the Los Angeles area in years. And because of that, NASCAR and Fox wisely, extremely wisely, made the decision to go ahead and move the race from Sunday to Saturday night. That meant ultimately that all the tickets that were sold for Sunday basically got a refund. And anybody who was at the track on Saturday was allowed to stay there, and people were coming into the gates for free for that race. It's probably the first and last time you will ever see a free NASCAR Cup Series race. I hate that NASCAR was screwed over so bad by the weather. I love how they responded. At the track, it was insane. I was actually in the souvenir tent trailer outside the racetrack when the news broke, when it came onto my phone, and I literally screamed it out to everybody in that tent. And that's one of those reporter moments that I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. But I have so many cool stories from that race. We did a vlog that kind of talked about everything, and we did a recap from the actual grandstands. You can go ahead and check those videos out on the channel. I'll drop links in the description if you want to see kind of the behind-the-scenes craziness that race was. It was absolutely insane, but honestly, brilliant race. I hate that it was raining on us as we were ending the NASCAR Mexico race, and that's another aspect of this whole thing. Daniel Suarez winning that race, Denny Hamlin winning the Clash. Very, very, very cool event out in Los Angeles, and I hope to see it come back in Los Angeles in some form, but I don't think it's going to be coming back to the Coliseum anytime soon. Number 4 on the list, NASCAR returning to the oval at Indianapolis. It's a massive deal for the 30th anniversary. Yes, it's kind of fresh of mind because it just happened last week, but more specifically, the NASCAR Xfinity Series finish with Riley Herbst just absolutely wheeling it. In my opinion, that moment showed to me and a lot of people in the garage area that he does deserve to be in the Cup Series, because this kid, although he comes from money, although he frankly bought the ride that he's in now with Stewart Haas and is buying the presumed ride that he's going to be getting over at 2311, he deserves to be here. He's got some skills, and you got to recognize the kid for that. He's only got 2 Xfinity Series wins, but that was an amazing finish, and it showed the potential for NASCAR racing on the oval in Indianapolis. I truly do think that NASCAR needs to stay on the oval moving forward. No more road course filler years, and it looks like NASCAR is going to hopefully listen to us on that one. Number 3 on our list is kind of a 2-for-1 special because they're both basically the same thing. Both the Atlanta photo finish and the Kansas photo finish, but there is some controversy with this one. The Atlanta finish was phenomenal. We kind of saw it coming from a mile away, but it was still really good, grabbed a lot of national headlines. Wonderful, phenomenal finish. The Kansas finish, in my opinion, was a better finish because it's not just everybody mash the gas down and push each other and try to outpush and outdraft each other. It was strategy. Where do you let off? What lines do you take into those final corners? And it actually produced not only a phenomenal photo finish, but a legitimate tie. For the first time in NASCAR history, there was a tie in this race, and scoring does back this up. NASCAR had to manually decide who won this race, and they give it to Kyle Larson. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but it opened up the Pandora's box of where is the start-finish line. And yes, the Kansas finish line is not straight for whatever reason. Why racetracks can't paint a straight line on the racetrack is beyond me. There's literally rulers, measurements, thousands of dollars worth of technology, but for some reason the person out there painting can't paint straight. What the hell, NASCAR? Number 2 on the list is not the All-Star race, because the All-Star race was absolute garbage. It's pointless. It doesn't belong in NASCAR anymore. Give North Wilkesboro a points-paying date and eliminate the All-Star race altogether. It's pointless because every single week is an All-Star race in NASCAR, unlike every other form of motorsports. But instead, number 2 on the list, the Stenhouse and Busch fight. This moment really resonated with non-NASCAR fans, and I get it. We all like to see the fighting, and you got to hand it to Stenhouse. He really called his own shot here, and I think it was absolutely worth the fine that he paid. Kyle Busch wasn't fined at all for this. I think what Kyle Busch did was a little egregious on the racetrack, and he deserved that punch and then some. And frankly, I'm of the mentality of boys have at it. Just let these guys not use their race cars as weapons and let them use their fists. Let's go full hockey and give them like 30 seconds to really, go at it. Guaranteed. Guys like Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, they would not drive the way that they do on the racetrack, knowing that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is in the pits just waiting for them. Just saying, it's going to up the entertainment value, that's for sure. And frankly, it's going to save money. Don't use the race cars as weapons. Instead, let them go at it just mano-y-mano. Yeah, I'm down. And the number 1 story so far in 2024 has to be the charter negotiations between NASCAR and the NASCAR Cup Series team owners. Right now, they couldn't be more divided if they tried. NASCAR, frankly, is lowballing these teams and not giving them what they need. The teams simply just want a little more money to cover costs. They're not trying to get rich on this. You have Jeff Gordon and other team owners coming forward with Jeff Gordon saying things like Hendrick Motorsports hasn't been profitable in over 10 years. Keep in mind, they've won multiple championships and a Daytona 500 and Indy in Brickyard 400s during that time period, and they are not turning a profit. That's bad. But on the other hand, you have NASCAR, who is showing profits in the millions, close to the billions of dollars from TV revenue, sales at the racetrack, souvenir concession stand sales, and international distribution rights for the series and merchandise, etc., etc. NASCAR as a group is making so much money right now, and the teams are operating in the red. And you have, frankly, field fillers like Landon Castle who's saying things like, well, the teams spend too much money. Do they, Landon? Maybe we shouldn't take financial advice from the guy who was paid in cryptocurrency that failed halfway through his contract. Just saying. But I want to hear from you. What are some of the big stories of 2024 that you're going to remember so far? And what do you think about the charter discussions? Could we see a lockout potentially of the NASCAR Cup Series team simply not showing up to the racetrack at some point? Or will we see a deal get done? I don't know. It's a murky situation. Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're there, make sure that you mash that subscribe button so that you do not miss a video. And of course, make sure that you log on to arnrace.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. I want to thank you so much for watching. For Shifting Gears, I'm Alan Bailey. We'll see you at the track.